this political killings task team was technically disbanded by, suspended police minister, Senzo Mchunu, but also the nature of the relationship between Kachalia and Masemola. Is Masemola, throwing his weight behind the work that the commission is going to do, that Kachalia has to do in the interim? And it's interesting in the statement, and I want to read it.
Does this matter in terms of, let me ask it this way, does normal labor law apply in this kind of situation when it's a the two highest ranking police officers in the country? Sibiya is arguing that the decision by his boss to put him on a leave of absence is unlawful. Masemola insists he is well within his rights to take this kind of action. Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner for Crime Detection, Shadrack Sibiya, and the National Commissioner, Masemola, going head-to-head in the High Court in Pretoria. The court battle between the National Police Commissioner, Masemola, and his suspended deputy, Shadrack Sibiya, as embarrassing.
It undermines the discipline of the junior members, but also their confidence in the leadership. But for the public, it also undermines the trust of the public. It's already deteriorated to about 20%.
As well, and whether in fact, wherever they are going to be kept now, they will indeed be safe.
And going from the top down, the president has appointed the commission of inquiry headed by Justice Madlanga to oversee all of these serious allegations that General Mkhwanazi has made about the relationship between politicians and gangs and the judiciary. I mean, these are allegations of the most serious possible kind.
Some unions are calling on the SAPS to self-introspect and to introduce reformative disciplinary policies that will tackle divisions within the service. Sibiya has now filed a supplementary affidavit to strengthen his accusation against Masemola that his boss is blaming him for the apparent task team failures.
What the legal team for General Sibiya is arguing is on a point of legality. They're saying we are not contesting your rights under the Constitution, that you are able to, you are empowered to manage and control. What they're saying is, however, in exercising that control and managing, your actions should be lawful. In other words, they should be premised on an existing law or regulations.
General Sibiya essentially says the National Commissioner did not remove him properly, and he points to the fact he was only suspended 4 months after he allegedly disobeyed Masemola. Now, I'm no lawyer and I'm no expert on police, but that does seem to be quite a strong argument. I mean, such a long delay before the National Police Commissioner took this action.
The regulations and the disciplinary regulations are very clear. There is no provision that gives effect to or powers to the National Commissioner to place somebody on leave. The National Commissioner is actually relying on. In other words, he acted ultra vires. It's overreach. It's outside the scope of the law. And it could have been worse because by law, General Sibiya is not compelled to take an unlawful order from his superior because that order was unlawful. There is no legal basis. Well, in as much as that may seem at surface level to be prudent, unfortunately, that's not how the law works.
Deputy Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya back in court to challenge his suspension. He's hoping a full bench of the Pretoria High Court will reverse a decision by National Police Commissioner, that's Masemola, to keep him at home pending an investigation into his conduct.
He's rather gone to the High Court to say that it is unlawful in terms of the Promotion and Administration of a Justice Act, which has got to do with the decision-making powers and authority of the National Commissioner of the Police. So that's the basis upon which he's challenging it. There's no such thing in the disciplinary code for an enforced leave of absence. And
Do any of these things matter, Patrick? And I suppose the question is, will the court take any of these things into account today?
And so, what is interesting about this thing is the manner in which the so-called suspension has been framed. It has been framed not as a suspension from employment pending the outcome of a disciplinary inquiry. It is It is in fact a leave of absence. It's an enforced leave of absence rather than a suspension. Now, it may sound semantic to frame it in that way or to make that distinction, but I think it is an important one.
I suppose my question was around the fact that such serious allegations were made against Shadrack Sibiya. I mean, he's not an ordinary employee of a corporation based in Johannesburg or wherever else. He occupies an incredibly powerful position in the police, and serious allegations have been made against him. There is, of course, the other issue of the inquiry looking into SAPS corruption based on the explosive allegations made by the KZN police commissioner.
I think the answers are yes and yes, Michelle. The greater context of this thing is really, I think, where the court is going to pay its attention. I don't think it's going to pay, well, it will pay attention to the more employment-related issues. Just to finish on that aspect of it, you know, the first issue is whether there's urgent or not urgency, and the second one, whether it's in terms of the employment, codes. So I think that the Sibiya is quite strong on both of those points. But just on the macro scale, you know, look at the bigger picture here. This goes right up to the very top, actually up to the president. That's the context within which this whole thing is happening. So there's an overall judicial commission of inquiry that sits above all of these localized employment issues that the court is going to deliberate on at 10 o'clock today. And the court most certainly will take this context into account. And when it does so, it will pay attention to essentially the public interest.
Of course, the Madlanga Commission people did say they hope to start in the next couple of weeks, within September still. Siandengqo, thank you very much for your time. Puzzling indeed, but from, as Zianda was saying, the minister and the acting minister, that is, and the commissioner have actually agreed that these documents must be kept and handed over to the commission.
But then there's another school of thought that says, well, actually, there's a commission of inquiry that's been set up. All of these issues must be dealt with within the ambit of this judicial inquiry. So it's clear in the statements, because they tell us that, these dockets are going to go to the commission now for them to form part of their investigations, that's where these dockets are going to go. But the question is, when is this inquiry going to begin, when there's already issues or administrative issues surrounding it? And like I said, the longer it takes for them to get underway with this, it's probably deepening the ructions within the SAPS.